I'm hanging out with my good friend Bryce, the founder of Closebot. And I want to go through, where did you start? Where is it going? What specific problem or thing does your AI solve?
Is that all that's a full hour in itself. Like where we're at, where we're going, what problem does it solve?
Yeah.
Let's start with the easy one, what problem it solves.
Yeah.
Businesses have a hard time qualifying leads at scale.
Yep.
That's the simple thing. And this solves that. So it's a simple drag and drop builder for any business owner to go in and build an AI agent that can qualify leads and book appointments to their calendar.
Yep.
Roofers should spend more time on the roof and less time on the phone.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
That's the idea.
Makes sense. So the problem that you're solving is a lead generation problem or a lead follow-up problem, or just an actual doing anything with these leads then?
Yeah, all of the above. Our typical audience is actually marketing agencies. If you think about it, a roofer typically might get one lead a day, and they can handle that. But it's the marketing agencies that are doing ads for businesses and driving maybe 10, 20, 100 leads a day. They plug in our application on top of the ad set that they're installing for businesses to then automate the lead generation. They can churn through the leads that they're driving their business through the ads that they run.
Oh, I love it. And when did this start? Where did it start? How?
A pure accident. I think all good things happen by accident. You know, if you just do enough stuff, some stuff sticks. You know, I was an AI developer at Boeing.
Yeah.
I loved what I did. My hobby was learning languages, so I speak Italian. And in my free time, I liked to work AI into language learning. So I had a whole bunch of projects, and that was really my foot in the door on generative AI. Just the type of AI that does this stuff that we're all familiar with. Then I saw my wife making more money than me doing real estate, and I was like, she didn't even graduate college. Nothing against my wife. Nothing against my wife. Okay, she's amazing. And we'll get to that. And I was like, I'm just going to go do that and make more money.
Yeah.
Because like I'm having fun at my work, but I want to make more money. So I did that, and turns out that's harder than I thought, and I sucked at selling.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, that's cool. I'm going to code my way out of this problem, you know?
Yes.
As a tech person does. And I was trying to use my AI experience to automate lead qualification. Usually that is not the thing to do. More sales. You should spend time doing more sales. Usually coding your way out of that problem is not going to work out for you. In this case, though, it did.
Awesome.
Because right as the real estate market was tanking, I was solving that problem.
Yeah.
And so I was able to eventually quit real estate, which I wasn't making much money in anyway, and take off with the software business that eventually became Closebot.
And so when was Closebot founded?
The end of 2022.
So now we're in 2025. So you're two and a half years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And in 2.5 years, like, what's the run rate? What are you doing right now? How quickly is it growing?
Oh man, it's so crazy. So when we started, the problems we were having were like, I have this one customer who's upset over this one thing.
Yeah.
And that was like what kept me up at night. Now what keeps me up at night is we have 11 people who are paying their mortgage from their Closebot salaries.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
We just raised $600,000 in funding.
Yes.
And how long until we run out of that money?
Yeah.
When are we going to? So like the problems we're dealing with are just so much different. And I'm looking forward to seeing what problems I'll be dealing with 2.5 years from now.
Yeah. And how big has the company grown? Like how many employees, revenue, things like that?
We have 11 full-time on staff, but if you count all of our contractors that are also full-time, it's about double that, about 20 people, which is just wild.
It's wild.
It's wild when you get to the point where you don't control everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's a heartbreaking point. It was hard for me to even hire my first person. You know this. You were like, my God, Bryce, you need to hire someone. I'm like, no, I don't think I do, Anton. I don't think I do. I don't want to do that. And then I did. And now we're to a point where I have people under me that have people under them. And that's where, and we can talk more about this, vision is so important.
100%.
You have to establish that vision really strongly up front.
Yeah.
So that can trickle down to everyone in the business.
Let's go there for a second. How do you establish a strong vision to recruit talented people to, hey, come join my no-name startup? Well, I mean, it's got a name now, but at one point when you were first hiring people, you're like, yeah, it's just us. So how do you recruit talent to that vision, and what is that vision?
We established the vision early on.
Yeah.
We are a product for agencies to build expert level lead qualification and booking bots quickly and easily.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. I've said that so many times. But also our pillars that we focus on are community, innovation, and quality. So these are three things that we think about all the time, and it drives everything we do.
Yeah.
With our vision statement and with those three things, eventually, if you just think hard enough about those things, you build something that's really solid and deep, and people can get behind that. If they come in and it feels like you're scatterbrained, that's a big turnoff for people. They want to see that you're focused. They want to see that you're saying no to a bunch of stuff that are not your thing, because then they're like, oh, if he's saying no to all these opportunities, they must be really damn sure on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And people can stand behind that.
And they can see, if you're betting your time and energy and you've got a good vision, like, okay, I want to go with this one on this journey. Was this all bootstrapped? Did you do this yourself?
It was bootstrapped until we did the raise this last December. So we went 2 years bootstrapped, which is a testament in and of itself.
Bingo, that's where I was going.
Like most companies fail within the first year.
Yeah.
And very few make it to 1 million in annual recurring revenue.
Yeah.
And right now we're at 2.25 in annual recurring revenue with tens of thousands of businesses using our product. We're booking 10,000 appointments a week.
Holy Toledo. Seriously?
That's over one a minute, 24/7. Yeah.
Wow. Wild.
Absolutely crazy. Processing about 300,000 messages a week. It's just wild.
So that's where you're at right now. Where do you think your run rate will finish 2025?
We're spending less money than we anticipated. We're trying to spend more money now.
Yeah.
But we hit January, and our plan was to hire all these people, which we did.
Yep.
But some of them were, like one of them worked at Salesforce, and he had a scheduled vacation. So he had his 2 weeks notice and then his vacation lined up. And then he was like one person we were spending a lot of money on. So that delayed our spending.
Yeah.
Our marketing, I didn't realize like ads are a big deal.
Yeah.
And for an ad agency to come in, learn about your product, learn about your audience, learn how to segment your audience, set up the pixel and tracking and stuff. It takes like 6 weeks to do that. So now we're spending like $20,000 a month on ads, but we planned on spending that earlier. I think we'll end up having enough money to I don't think we'll run out of money. I think we're already profitable as of now again, which was a total accident. And people listening are like, what? Like trying to spend more money?
Yeah.
Like we raised money and we gave away equity in the business. And the goal is to spend that as fast as possible to grow as fast as possible.
To get the hockey stick effect.
We're having a hard time spending faster than we're making money.
That's a high class problem, brother. and what I think, for the listeners and our subscribers, I've known Bryce a long time. He's being humble here. I need you to understand that he's generated a machine that's a wildly profitable business. They raised capital so they could move faster, and now they're profitable again ahead of schedule. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing, but it tells me that we're not making as much revenue as we could.
Yes, correct.
Had we spent more money like we should have.
Yes.
So we're trying to spend more money now. Like we're listed in G2. Do you know what G2 is? G2 is like the Better Business Bureau of software.
Oh, cool.
That's where people go to learn about enterprise software.
Yeah.
There are thousands of pieces of software listed in there. We're one of 9 that's listed as an AI agent builder, along with Salesforce, Google, other big name people. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And we were toying with the fact of like, do we pay them the $18,000 a year they want to like boost us and get us reviews? And then we looked and did our numbers and we're like, oh shit, we're profitable. Yeah, we need to spend that money.
Yeah.
We need to do that. So we're making more of those decisions. Hey, does it make sense? Does it cost a lot of money? Yes, yes, and yes. Like, let's go.
Can we use this to speed up growth and speed up customer acquisition now?
Yeah, it's a market share game.
Yeah. Because how much runway do you think you have in front of you, because AI is changing so fast? And so when you say it's a market share game, if you don't get a certain percentage of market share or keep growing, how long do you have?
There's not a defined number, but it's not much. People that don't innovate die in tech anyway.
Yeah.
And that's just the standard curve of improvement. We're not on the standard curve right now. So it's uncharted territory and it's scary.
Yeah, so it's just go time. Let's just go.
It's always just go as fast as possible. Do it. Break things along the way if you have to.
I want to take a step back. So you bootstrapped this to a certain point. What was that kind of moment where you're like, we're going to have to raise capital? Talk the listeners through that, for other people who they've got a business or they've got a startup and they're thinking, oh man, I need to raise capital. What'd that look like? What were your fears? What were you excited about?
There was a ton of external pressure from the whole AI thing. We had just talked about how it was growing fast. I felt like we were falling behind a little bit on that curve. We didn't have the hours that the devs needed to release features fast enough to stay competitive.
Yep.
And while I'm dealing with that struggle, we went to an event where one of our biggest competitors, who is dying, asked us to buy them.
Yeah.
Which was exciting. That's cool.
Yeah.
But then we turned around and someone else that I didn't think was a competitor said that they were buying another competitor of ours and they were going to compete with us and crush us.
Yeah, so some competitor literally just pops up out of the blue and says, I'm a competitor.
Pops up out of nowhere. And another one out of nowhere is dying. And we're in the middle of it. I was like, I don't think we can survive.
Yeah.
Time to raise money.
Yeah. Time to go faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, time to grow.
We knew exactly what needed to be done too. That was the frustrating thing. I knew exactly what needed to be built, how to build it, the team members I would need.
How many times did we have that conversation about, this is what I need, these are the next 4 steps? Talk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, we had calls often at that time. And it was always more people, more sales. Money, people, sales. Do the things, Bryce. And I'm like, it's a lot of money to spend.
Yeah.
Because at Boeing, I was making $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
So to think of an $80,000 a month
payroll.
Yeah. I'm like, Anton, no, you're crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Turns out you're right. Needed to do that.
Yeah.
Money, people, sales.
Yeah. And are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert.
Yeah.
Hard.
So how comfortable and what did it feel like when all of a sudden you're like, I got to go raise capital. I got to go talk to a bunch of people and do a pitch or a thing I've never done before?
First of all, that whole experience that I told you about where someone asked us to buy them and someone else said they were going to crush us, just having those conversations made me cry.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man. I was sitting there at a booth having breakfast with my wife, and I just started to cry.
Yeah.
So yeah, super, super introvert. Then I'm faced with this scenario where we need to raise money. And I heard, you hear finding money is easy.
Yeah.
Oh, just like you have an idea, like it'll be easy.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not easy, Anton. It's not easy.
Hold on, I never said it was easy.
You said something to make me believe that money was going to land in my bank account if I yelled, I have an idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well, hold on, you did, and it worked.
I think you knew, like, you'll do what needs to be done, Bryce.
Bingo.
It's like in the Matrix where that one person tells Neo what he needs to hear.
Yeah.
You told me what I needed to hear
Yes.
to make me go out and raise money. And what that looked like was 75 one-on-one half-hour pitches over 10 days.
Yes. The gauntlet.
The gauntlet. It took 45 days from the point of me saying, let's raise money,
Yep.
to having $600,000 in our escrow account.
Which is phenomenal. So for the listeners, for our subscribers, I knew Bryce could do this. I knew that he was uncomfortable doing it. What I didn't tell him was that he was going to have to scale a cliff with a parachute and weights. I didn't explain the pain and the process. I just told him scaling it was possible, and I know you can do this. And part of it, too, was there was a certain route he was trying to go down, and a couple of us, multiple of us, I was not the only one on this one, kind of nudged you back and was like, no. Let's look at friends and family, and then you can move through this. But walk us through what happened when you decided, I'm going to go do 75 sales pitches. Did your skills go up? Did they go down? Did you get comfortable? Like, what happened there?
My skills?
Yeah.
Oh, like not only could I give that pitch in my sleep, but Max, who shared an office with me, could also give that pitch in his sleep. he would tell me after calls like, hey, that was a good one. You nailed this part of that one.
Yes.
And I think that comes off probably here a little bit, like this sort of exchange, a podcast style interview.
Yeah.
Maybe couldn't have happened 2.5 years ago with previous Bryce.
Yeah.
Being on stage at an event, thank you. One of them was because of you.
Yeah.
Speaking on stage would have been really hard before.
Yeah.
It's not anymore.
Yeah. So to someone who wants to build a business or they want to grow that charisma, what do you say?
Just do shit. Just do it. I mean, everyone has interests.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone has ideas. If those two things are facts, which they are, you just need to do them.
Yeah.
And do them faster and harder.
Until you're good at them.
Or dead. Right? If you live, you can live to tell the story about it, which is pretty cool.
Amen. Amen. No, you're preaching to my heart right now. What would you say, as you've been building Closebot, what's the biggest mistake that you had or failure so far along this journey?
Not raising sooner was huge.
Yeah.
Because we could be a year ahead of where we are now had we raised sooner. Not hiring sooner, same sort of thing. That one, not as much because I needed someone and I waited probably 3 months before I hired them. Mm-hmm. So that's not as big of a gap. But it all comes down to not doing sooner.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah, those are all my regrets.
What gets you out of bed in the morning besides like a financial goal? Like, why are you doing this?
Oh, there's no money behind this.
Yeah.
It's just I have this idea that I want to see happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, so raising the money.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I look at our monthly recurring revenue probably 12 times a day.
Yeah.
But it's not because of the money. It's because of what the money allows us to do.
Yeah.
Which is build the really cool thing for people that need it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So you're here to build the cool thing and to make it happen and grow the business. Oh, I love it. As you've been building this, has there been a moment where you've had to pivot the overall strategy or things change fundamentally? What was that?
Yeah, and it's too many to count now. I mean, the whole agentic AI thing, agents that have tools and decide when to use them, that was a big mind F moment. And we kind of had to change the way we were building things.
Yeah.
Other models coming out that build things and have to be used in entirely different ways. Mm-hmm. Like we need to integrate with them. Yeah. It's scary when we do that because we have to figure out all these now new unknowns. Something could come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
That we would have to stop and figure out all these new problems that weren't there yesterday.
Makes sense. What models do you guys work with or use right now?
So as of now, we do Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, DeepSeek, and that's it. Grok will probably be added soon.
Cool. What's next on kind of product or feature list for you guys?
Dude, there's so many things.
Yeah.
Right now, we are focused on lead qualification and booking AI.
Yeah.
So staying in that sphere.
Yep.
Let's talk of this year. We'll have a standalone CRM.
Yep.
Right now, we are the brain, but we have to plug the brain into a CRM.
Yep.
Right now, we have native integration with HubSpot and Go High Level.
Yep.
We'll add other options, but also have our own CRM. So if you didn't have any CRM, you could just use Closebot as your CRM as well.
Perfect.
And then we're looking at voice too. We have a lot of input that people want voice. They want to use our drag and drop builder with voice. So that's on the roadmap for this year.
Break it down for the listener. What level, like, is that 2 times harder than text? Is it 5 times harder? Like, what's the complexity of that?
It's the foundation is the hard part. So we've solved the hard part.
Yeah.
Which is all the back end, how things move around to accommodate messages coming in.
Okay.
And we've built it in a way that voice won't be hard. The main hard part will just be the user interface, like how we show the UI around calls.
Cool. Where are these messages coming in from? What's kind of the most common in the pipeline, or what's the platforms people are using?
Most of our users are on Go High Level right now.
Yeah.
And we can communicate on any channel within Go High Level in that case. So if they connect to their Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, live chat on the website, WhatsApp, Google My Business Chat, integrates with all of those.
Wow.
And no matter where the message comes in, we can respond to it.
Yeah.
Email, I left that one out. Email.
And then you can respond at any time?
Yeah. And it automatically follows up too. So if you come in and let's say we're engaging on a website. You come into the website, maybe it's a gym, and you're like, hey, I'm interested in the gym. Can you tell me your pricing?
Yeah.
And it engages. It would get your phone number, switch over the chat to phone probably.
Yeah.
Engage a little bit on phone. And then if you were like, hey, I'm on vacation right now, a better time would be, not this week, I'm on with vacation.
Yeah.
It would automatically follow up the week after that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. What does this mean for sales organizations in general? How do you become or stay relevant in sales? How do you keep your business relevant over the next 12, 24, 36 months with things like this?
If you're running a business with the sales team and those sales representatives are not spending the majority of their time talking to people interested in the product or service, you are going to die. You need systems like this in place to qualify those leads and book the appointments with the sales representative. Your salespeople are expensive. They're good at what they do, and they shouldn't spend their time on the phone waiting for someone to pick up.
Yes.
Or texting people who are not interested in the product or service.
Yeah.
Line up the call. Use AI to line up the calls, sift through the nonsense, and direct people where they need to be directed so you can sell them.
Can you direct them even to the salesperson based on like a personality or a certain qualification? So like I can channel it to each one?
Yeah. Let's say real estate, for example.
Yeah.
Let's say you're qualifying an inbound lead on your website,
Yep.
and you figure out this person needs to sell their home in 2 weeks or
Yeah.
something ridiculous. Or maybe the reason they want to sell is because they're going through divorce or foreclosure. You could route that to a different person, which maybe would be a wholesale or flip
Sure.
type
Yep.
appointment you're setting them on versus, maybe they have $1 million home. They
Yep.
have plenty of time. They're relocating because of their job at Amazon.
Yep.
That needs to go to an agent.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It's
Human agent. Sorry, not an AI. A human.
for now.
For now, right?
What would you say that is like the most valuable skill that you've learned as a CEO that you didn't even anticipate that you were going to need it?
Building a brand and networking, which are not skills that come easily to me. I am a tech person. I say this it hurts me to say this. I used to love coding.
Yeah.
I think my whole internal makeup of my entity, myself, is changing because I don't like coding anymore.
Yeah.
Hurts me to say that.
Yeah.
But you make so much more money as a networker with a brand.
Yes.
I've gone to more and more events, and I make so much future money for the business by meeting the right people and figuring out how their goals can fit in with our goals and get someplace together. That's a skill.
Oh, love it. And I think that people always need to learn to embrace the evolution of their life that they're going through, because the same man never steps into the same river twice. And so as he grows, things change, and it's okay. And it's amazing, and I love it personally as someone who's been able to sit on the sidelines of this journey and kind of watch, maybe coach, eat some popcorn, throw a couple stones,
Poke the bear.
Poke the bear. Yeah, exactly. You need to do this now. But it's amazing to watch you grow and just like how much that you've grown. And that's really hard for people to do. It's hard for them to let go of something to move into the new thing. But if they don't let go, they can't become the next version. And so talk me through that. Like what's been making you uncomfortable that you're still growing in right now?
I think what people need to realize is that, like, as a human, we want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Even me, even you.
Yeah.
We want to be comfortable. The only time where we grow is when we are uncomfortable. So we have to put ourselves purposefully in a place of discomfort. I left my comfortable job at Boeing.
Yeah.
I grew so much when I did that. People wanted to crush our business, Closebot, and people wanted us to buy them. It made me cry, and I grew a lot in that moment. I go on stage, I'm uncomfortable, I grow. So if you're sitting there and you're not happy with your life, you'll probably also find out you're pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And you need to fix that and bring yourself some discomfort. Light the fire somewhere.
Comfort kills.
If you light your house on fire, you're leaving the house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What unique challenges does an AI startup face versus just a regular business? What's really standing out and you're like, whoa, this is just unique to us? Or is it all just business?
Ooh. So let's go software first.
Sure.
Software in particular. Software can be created so fast right now, especially with AI developing rapid prototypes quickly. So that's one thing. Like if you start a roofing company, there's the whole hard part of hiring people and standard operating procedures and establishing your network. There's none of that with software. So it's really easy to replicate a software really quickly. Compound that with being an AI. This is a space that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And so competitors are popping up like weeds, like overnight.
Yeah.
And they're raising a ton of money too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're popping up fast and they're well-funded. And they're using AI to develop their platforms, or at least assisting in the development. So if you're in that space, you better be fast. You better have funding, and you better have good ideas.
When your idea is in alignment with the vision and it's alignment with purpose and with what the customer wants and what you believe is the next thing, you execute like nobody's business. Like, watch out. Like, you're just going for it. So amazing to watch. How do you prioritize like what project you're going to work on next, or what person you're going to hire next? Like, how's that decision working? With you and I'm sure the whole team's actually involved in that too.
Yeah, that's most of where my time is spent right now. If I'm not creating content, it's doing exactly that.
Yeah.
We live by the 1% rule. So if it's not affecting at least 1% of our user base, we don't worry about it. So if people are like, hey, we really want this feature, we're like, we've only heard that from like 100 people out of our thousands of users.
Yeah.
We don't give that the time of day.
Yeah.
It's so hard, Anton, looking at where it's like, even just lead qualification in general is changing, because not everyone that's our competitor is solving this problem the same way. But looking where we think we'll be in the future and then trying to develop features that solve that problem. We can't solve today's problem. So some of our users, let's say 99% of our users want a feature.
Yeah.
But we know that's actually not going to be their problem in 6 months. We think something else is going to be their problem. And then taking the bet and putting our development resources toward that being the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're looking so far down the field. They're on the 10-yard line. You're already almost in the other end zone, and you're going, hey, here's something you haven't even seen yet, and we got to start building that today.
Yeah.
That's powerful in itself.
Yeah. And it's hard. And then when you stack staffing on top of that, so we are predicting what the problem will be.
Yeah.
But also predicting what resources, what burn rate we have, what we can afford to hire to decide which people we need to put in place. Here's another thing, like hiring is so hard.
Yes.
Because it's not like I can decide sales and billing, for example. We need a full-time sales and billing person.
Yeah.
We have someone doing that along with another role. I can't have one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have to put out a job rec, decide what the job rec is going to be. I have to go through the job rec with the person currently doing the role to see if there's anything I missed. Then we post that on ZipRecruiter. We get applicants. We wait a week for the best applicants to come in. We do interviews. We're at 2.5 weeks from now already.
Yeah.
We have someone awesome. Can't start yet. They don't know what to do. They need to be trained. That takes 2 weeks. It's like a 5-week process from the time of deciding I need this person to getting them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to look at what do I think I might need?
Yes. 6 weeks from now.
Right. And typically what happens is I'll be talking with the team and then we're like, oh yeah, I think we might eventually need this person. And then a day goes by and I do the mental math on where we're headed and our growth rate and problems we're facing and how many billing inquiries we're getting per day. And I see them growing and I map it out and I'm like, oh, we needed to start hiring that person 3 weeks ago. We're going to be in trouble 2 weeks from now. We need to do that now.
Yeah. 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 It's go time. How do you manage the immense pressure on a CEO, on a startup, on someone who's got 20 some people directly, indirectly working with them? How are you navigating that?
Thanks for reminding me.
Poof.
Yeah. We have, that's 20 people who pay their mortgage because of the boat that we're steering together. Yeah. And if we hit an iceberg, that's 20 people who are in hardship. That's more because they all have families.
Of course. Exactly.
I don't know. I'm just so wildly enthusiastic about the vision that I tend to forget. And I'm sure my wife doesn't forget.
So what are you doing then to de-stress? How are you letting go?
And maybe that's more of why it doesn't affect me so much. I have a really strong relationship with my wife. So when we get stressed, we're there for each other. And we have a rule that we both can't be stressed together. So if I'm in my moment of weakness and I'm stressed, she's there for me and she's strong. She's the pillar. Yeah. Even if she's not inside. Yeah. And then working out, doing CrossFit. Yeah. My wife and I go to CrossFit together and there are some times where we'll just be bickering the whole way there. Yeah. And then after the workout, we're both like, I'm sorry. I was ridiculous before.
I love you.
Pre-workout me, bad person. It's like when you're hangry. Sometimes you just need a workout.
Yeah. I've chatted with a lot of business owners over the years and helped a lot of people grow their business. And what's interesting is a real common thing that a lot of people don't think about is imposter syndrome. They don't feel like they should be there. They don't feel like they should be successful, or they don't know it all. How have you navigated that? Because everyone experiences it.
Yeah, I think I don't know how it is for everyone else, but I lie to myself. When told myself I'm a proud bootstrapper, I'm not raising funds, and I'm doing it for the fact that I don't need their money. Yeah. Such a lie. Such a lie I told myself to avoid raising money. Yeah. But if you're like me and you're doing that and like getting good at identifying when you're lying to yourself, like, okay, that thing you said, is that true?
Yeah. Is that the truth, your truth, or a truth, or not a truth at all?
What does the data say?
Yeah.
The data says you have a far less likelihood of making it to, I mean, if unicorn status, yes, but any sort of status without raising funds.
Yeah.
So like, you're really betting on being the 1%, or should you maybe try to do what the facts say and be the 99% and put your lie aside and actually be what you're meant to be? So I don't know if it's like that for other people, if they tell themselves lies.
I think everyone does. And I think you just had the awareness to catch it, and that's why you moved forward and you grew. You know, I think that's everyone has to somehow create that awareness over time. So looking back, what advice do you give to your younger self to go start this business, to go grow a business? What would you tell your younger self today?
I think it worked out well for me, but I wish I would have known that going to college wasn't the golden ticket.
Yeah.
Even in high school, I think these high schoolers should be like having side gigs, like doing stuff.
Yeah.
Go build a lawn mowing business, or go learn how to do computer stuff and get leads who need their computer fixed.
Yeah.
Like, go do stuff like that, because that's where you find what you're really interested in. Me, I got lucky because I loved school. I did the math, science, English. I did everything, but decided I could probably make the most money if I went into science.
Yeah.
And then continued doing my school. I didn't do any side projects.
Yeah.
No side work. I'm lucky that I spent 10 years on the education path that would serve me. But so many people are not that lucky.
Yeah.
They spend 10 years pursuing an education that when they get in the workforce, they realize it's not for them. And had they done side projects and hobbies, they would have known that wasn't for them.
I love it. Moral of the story, you need to get a side quest and
sure.
Embrace the side quest.
Embrace the side quests are your main quest.
Embrace the side quest until it becomes your main quest. Yeah. No, I like that. I'm going to go browbeat my kids with that one. Any final closing thoughts, my friend?
The future's changing. Be ready for it. If you're not on the AI train, if you're not at least logged into like ChatGPT and using that sometimes instead of Google, you're missing out. Your life is way harder than it needs to be. I already know that.
And how can people reach you and find Closebot?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that.
Yeah.
I forget this so much. Follow me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
That is the best way to hear more about this kind of stuff. Thought leadership posts about AI and where it's headed. I blast all that on LinkedIn. I have really strong opinions about where we're headed. Or on Instagram, if you're more interested in like my family life and the stresses that I deal with personally in growing a business. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.